Hello everyone, it's Lennon. Welcome to the channel. Today I thought I would take you through a couple of the books that I'm currently reading, okay? Now, some of these have inspired me magically, which is why I chose to put this video in one of my witchcraft slots. Because I love the aspect of reading a book and it kind of making you think about your magic practice. Now, sometimes this works for me. I'll be reading something and it'll have nothing to do inherently with witchcraft or magic, and then I'll get a spark of creativity or a spark of an, inspiration spark, and it lights me up, quite literally. So there's a blue theme happening with these books, okay? Because look at these. There's like so much blue happening, okay? To get me through the spring, to get into the summer, which is like humid and hot, and it's just like sometimes a nightmare here, okay? But so the blue, the calm blue, is gonna get me through these seasons, okay? The comings of the hot season. I will start off with the magic book for you guys, okay? The one that's actually magic. And that is the Apophenion by Peter J. Carroll. Okay, now if you know, you know. All right, Peter J. Carroll is one of the fathers of chaos magic, and I loved Liber Null and Psychonaut and Liber Chaos. I really enjoyed Liber Chaos because it was broke down into like colors, and I don't know, like the Octarine chapter. Anyone else think magic's Octarine? Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett, anyone? Okay. Anyway, so good. Okay, so good to break it down into colors and what colors do for us, and we're gonna get into colors in a little while because that's something that's going on. But I've been really, my pencil is still inside this thing from where I just I didn't have a highlighter, so I've just been like checking things and stuff like that. This book is a chaos magic paradigm. Sorry, a chaos magic paradigm. This is very analytical. Okay, this is a very analytical book. It really goes into science, and I will say that he tries to mix science and magic, but sometimes the points aren't easy to know what he's talking about. Like he'll be talking about like for instance the nature of time, okay, and he'll get into like there's this equation here, right? I don't know Peter J. Carroll's expertise, and without knowing how proficient he is in quantum physics and stuff like that, I'm not sure how to believe him, if that makes sense. And a lot of people say, look, if you want to mix quantum physics and magic, that's fine. I think there's a lot of physics in magic, I do. But when you can't back it up, when you're not proficient enough to back it up with the actual math and the actual science, then, I don't know, lines can get blurred there. So you have to let people know on some level how proficient you are, or how, if you're prolific, if you're basic, or if you're advanced, like if you've been studying it. If you are a theoretical physicist, okay, then, hit me up. Okay, let's talk. But he does go into a lot of what I would think are scientific paradigms, like the nature of time. He talks about synchronicities, randomness, and he really has a section on here on personal myth that I really like. And so he's trying to add up all of these scientific paradigms and try to match them with magic. I am enjoying it, but again, there's this like weird critical thing that's going on. Like I have like this filter over my brain where I don't necessarily know if he's, like if he knows what he's talking about. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying that maybe because I'm not proficient in quantum mechanics and quantum physics, then I don't know where my line could be for that. So, but because I highlighted so much. I really did like this statement. I'm gonna say a couple of statements from the book, okay? If someone claims to have free will, ask them, free from precisely what? I went on such a thought experiment with that question. I even wrote it down in my book of magic. I was like, nope, this has got to go somewhere, because I talk as a Thoth tarot reader, one that like reads Crowley's deck. Okay, there's such a huge aspect in that deck and in that divination system about will and the power of will, of course. And I mean, Thalima's pretty much wrapped up in that. So the concept of free will is one of these huge thought experiments that you could go down, because free from what? It's like, it's really going to get you to think about will and freedom versus oppression. And I think we all need to go down that rabbit hole. So I liked that. Instead of underlining it, I like put arrows there. I was like, yes, just arrow that thing. And the panpsychism, I had made a video one time about all the deisms and theisms that I think I inhabit. Okay, maybe I'll leave that video below. All right, about my isms. All right, and I talked about panpsychism in that because I really enjoy the premise. And one thing about chaos magic really is thinking about these paradigms and figuring out, really immersing yourself in them to see if it's even something that can be helpful. And panpsychism was like one of the top ones that I had explored back in the day. So his section on panpsychism was really good. And then I highlighted this. What does this say? We cannot, however, have content-free consciousness. It does not exist as a state of being. It consists of an activity, and this activity ceases under anesthesia or deep sleep. Plainly, we should regard mind as a verb. Isn't that a good statement? That's such a good statement. The concept of the activity of the brain is a verb. Okay? It's an activity. I love that. In magic and mysticism and in creative thinking, we can gain much by relaxing the grip of the unitary consciousness that we have learned to construct. It's about constructing the self. I like that. So anyway, he has some very quotable things that I have underlined here. And I'm really enjoying it, you know. Apophenia. Oh, I underlined this because I didn't know what apophenium is, okay? The apophenion. Apophenia means finding pattern or meaning where others don't. A lot of magicians are like that, okay? Feelings of revelation and ecstasis usually accompany it. It has some negative connotations in psychological terminology when it implies finding meaning or pattern where none exists, and some positive ones when it implies finding something important, useful, or beautiful. And there's always this juxtaposition between ugliness and beauty here, okay, for me. It thus links creativity and psychosis, genius, and magic. I'm sorry, genius and madness, but magic too. Anyway, so I spent a lot of time talking about this, but really enjoying this. My pencil was on this page, because I know I'll be highlighting more as I get into it. Then, Nietzsche, all right, The Birth of Tragedy. Now, this is the seminal work in the Apollonian and Dionysian paradigm that Camille Paglia, for Sexual Personae, like 700, 800 pages later, she had dissected this little bitty thing, okay? And put her own spin on it, all right? As only Paglia could have done. And I did want to do a reading vlog, and I got through 10 chapters, and I think there's 12 chapters in that book. I got through 10 doing it vlog style. Like, I was just like, I had read and then was sharing what I highlighted and what I really liked about that chapter. I got 80% done with that video, and then I just kind of quit. So maybe it'll come out on the channel that I'll have officially reviewed Sexual Personae. Who knows, all right? But I wanted to go to the source, as always I do. So I've been reading Birth of Tragedy by Nietzsche. I like Nietzsche, okay? I'm just going to say that. I don't care who doesn't. There's something about the way this guy talks, okay? So So another blue birth of tragedy, getting a little bit more. Okay, here's the importance of this for me. Inside the dualism of anything you could think of. Okay, black, white, good, bad, blah, 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 blah. Apollonian and Dionysian. There is so much nuance to be plucked. Okay, and I actually made a video about nuance and black and white and the terminology and stuff like that. I'll leave that below for you, where I was really trying to contextualize what I thought nuance meant and why the world was so obsessed with dualism. Okay, it's because the universe tends to work in these ways, in these manifesting and unmanifesting ways. Okay, but that does not mean that we are locked in, paradigm speaking, to the dualisms. There's a whole bunch of other stuff happening outside the dualism, but it's in learning the dualism and learning the polarities and learning the manifestations of the universe in these hedonistic and industrialized ways, for their essence, I guess you would say. It's important to know the dualisms, and then you can prism off of them, you know. So anyway, and then I picked this up because I saw a lot of the Penguin Book of Blood, you know. I picked up a couple of other ones, a couple of other ones are in my cart. The Penguin Book of Dragons, the Penguin Book of Hell, the Penguin Book of the Undead. Okay, now this is where an author, okay, maybe not even an author, someone compiles, all right, these compilations, these anthologies of all different texts from all versions of, all versions of history and sacred texts and all kinds of writers from all over the world, compiles them under that theme of dragon or hell or undead or spirituality, okay, and the nature of God. So I picked this one up first because it's got some of my favorites in it, and you just kind of like go through. This got in terms of spiritual verse, the Penguin Book of Spiritual Verse. This is all about who could say what about what. So there's Hafiz, there's Rumi, there's Dante, there's Blake, there's Emily Dickinson. Okay, who else? A whole bunch. Okay, starts out with the hymn to Inanna. So okay. And then the Epic of Gilgamesh, of course, as our oldest freestanding creation story. Then there's some Bible. Then there's some Sappho, which I really, really enjoyed them including in here. And then some ones from the Aeneid, the Homily, the Quran. I mean, all over the world. I'm really, really glad at the diversity of this book, you guys. You have no idea. Then they have Lao Tzu, Easy as Nature, Homer. Let's see. The Bible, of course. Hildegard, because Hildegard and Teresa of Avila, St. Francis of Assisi, all these people, okay, Thomas Aquinas. Then they have Netzhualcoatl, the painted book, okay, and the Kabir, Mirabai, the Yoruba people, of course, Paradise Lost is one of my favorites too, Goethe, John Keats, Frederick Douglass. I mean, a whole bunch of people, okay? Uviovnuk, The Great Sea, Maria Sabrina, Russia, Sweden. I mean, everywhere, okay? Anyway, I can gush about this, but I love it. I mean, just pick a page, any page. I believe that this will, I'm thinking about doing some magic to this, okay? This is spirituality, the essence of God, and all cultures around the entire world are included in this, okay? I think I want to make this a new Bible. I think I want to make this a spiritual text for myself. I want to decorate it, maybe even harden the cover, because this is pretty flimsy cover. Maybe dress it up, and try to reinforce the cover. Maybe make it like a more cardboard, reinforcement, and then have it like as an altarpiece, and this could be an actual sacred text. So really excited about this. I just love doing it like bibliomancy and getting some real spiritual insight. Don't y'all want that? So I love that I bought that one first. Ugh. Okay. And then I bought this, which is kind of a memoir, all right? It's kind of a memoir. The Anthropology of Turquoise. Reflections on desert, sea, stone, and sky. Now, I picked it up for this cover. Okay? I had no idea what I was getting into. But I will say that I think it's the introduction or maybe the prologue. Chef's kiss. It just dived me into the desert. I was swimming in the desert, you guys. And the damn thing is called The Deeds and Sufferings of Light. Okay? If you know, you know. But golly, the way that this lady talks about color and the destiny of color. Like, let me read you this, okay? For astronomers in India, color was the domain of the deity Surya, the sun and single ruler of light. Surya controlled 8 celestial bodies, each emanating a pure color to the earth. With each color came a person's destiny. Ugh. Over 2,000 years ago, the Greeks believed that rays of light shot out from our eyes to the objects beheld. Our inner fire, conspiring with daylight, illuminated an external world. Another Greek emanation theory sent the rays in the opposite direction. Tiny husks or replicas of the object entered the eyes through a visual spirit that flocked back and forth between object and beholder. So freaking good, okay? And then she really was inspired by using this theme for her memoir, because a lot of memoirs have themes, okay? And the theme of color is this lady's avenue into her memoir, okay? And she chose it because she was extremely influenced by Goethe's theory of colors. And if you read that, okay, I love Goethe. If you read Theory of Colors, it's like reading the original text of Language of Flowers, okay? So it's set out like that. Like, we're getting someone's ruminations on the colors, but there's a lot of science behind it, and there's a lot of science in why they chose the language of the flowers also. But these old texts like this can be seminal in your magic, okay? Seriously. But thinking about colors the way this lady does has pushed my boundaries. I want to go down color rabbit holes, okay? Start analyzing paintings and art, different art from different eras, you know, and with this knowledge in mind. And she's also an artist, like she paints, and she lives out, you know, out in the desert in California. I'm sure it's California, somewhere over there. And the last paragraph in the introduction says this: when I am nearly off the ridge, I see where I must paint. I will beg for the guidance of my brother's hand. If help does not come, I will brave it on my own. On the desert horizon at dusk, where red rock meets lapis sky, at the seam of the Union runs a band of turquoise, recumbent upon the land's greatest darkness. This color is transient. Before night falls, blue-green is the last quantum of visible light to pass through the atmosphere without scattering. It can draw a person right down to the skin of the world. The tidal pull of light can shape an entire life. Every heart-warm pulse of blood and breath. But even now, I've already read this, and I'm like visibly changing because of this damn paragraph, okay? And I've read quite a bit, okay, of it, and it's so good. It is a memoir, okay, so you're just learning about her life. But it's the way this girl talks. No wonder she won the Pulitzer for this, okay? So yeah, if you're interested in, if you like memoirs, but especially if you're interested in color theory, getting someone's prose about color, it's been an inspiration. It really has. Okay. And then this one, all right? This is a collection of short stories by Kat Howard. This one, listen to this title: A Cathedral of Myth and Bone. I mean, how is this not the most perfect title for a short story collection? Okay. Anyway, but But I just picked this up, and I have, most of the short stories in here are like around 12 pages long. All right. So they're not, none of them are really long. And I have already read like maybe 4 or 5 of them in here because they're kind of quick reads, but they're ones you really want to sit and think about. But I'm going to actually read you the beginning of this short story, because when I tell you that I got out of my bed, was it last night or the night before? Whichever. I got out of bed. I was in bed reading this. I got out of bed, went to my sacred space, and put a post-it note of some shit that I got inspired to do. Okay? And this lady, I mean, of course, magic and magic realism, it's woven in a lot of stuff, okay? Whether people realize it or not. But for us witches, we tend to kind of collect things like this, and I collected this book. I collected it. Just, okay? So, anyway, sit back, relax, and let me read you a little bit of this book, okay? This short story is called The Saint of Sidewalks. Let that sink in. All right. Joan wrote her prayer with a half-used tube of Chanel vamp that she had found discarded at the 24th Street subway stop. It glided along across the cardboard, the flip side of Stole box, torn and bent, and left her words in a glossy slick the color of dried blood. I need a miracle. You were supposed to be specific when asking the Saint of Sidewalks for an intervention, but everything in her life was such a fucking disaster. Joan didn't know where to start, so she asked for a miracle, non-specific variety. She set her cardboard on the sidewalk, prayer side up, then lit the required cigarette stolen out of the pack of some guy who had been hitting on her at the bar. With the almost empty lighter she had fished out of the trash. You couldn't use anything new, anything you had previously owned in your prayer. That was the way the devotion worked. Found objects, discards. Detritus made holy by the power of the saint. Joan took a drag off the cigarette, then coughed. She hadn't smoked since her senior year of high school, and she'd mostly forgotten how. Thankfully, she didn't actually have to smoke the whole thing. Cigarette burning, she walked 3 times around her prayer, then dropped the butt to the sidewalk and ground it out beneath her shoe. Then she waited to see if her prayer would be answered. Other people waited too, scattered along the sidewalk where the saint's first miracle had occurred, with their altars of refuse and found objects. Prayers graffitied on walls or spelled out with the noodles from last night's lo mein. The rising sunlight arrowed between the buildings and began to make its progress down sidewalks lined with prayers. This was how it worked. If the sun covered your prayer, illuminating it, the saint had heard you. There was no guarantee of an answer, but at least you would know you had been heard. And for some people, that was enough. This is urban fucking magic, okay? Urban. A saint of sidewalks, okay? And all the items for your prayer have to be discarded, okay? You have to have found them out in the wild. In some homeless, that comes up too, in some homeless person's buggy, like a cart that they're wheeling around. She fished a lighter out of the, she stole a pack of cigarettes. She fished a lighter out of the trash. You know, she found an old Stole box, you know, the vodka box, probably from the back of the bar. I don't know. I mean, it was just, the way that was written, it just made me think this is an urban ritual, okay? And the desperation that Joan feels, and it's like using the discarded items really actually made me feel more and more of her desperation, because it was like, you're gonna go and find these objects and you're gonna graffiti on the walls and you're gonna spell out your prayer with last night's lo mein. How? Okay, I don't know why, but this is inspiring me. There's a lot, there's a lot of stories in here that have like a saint, Catholic religiosity behind it, but which, as we know, Catholicism has a lot of magic realism in it. But it just spoke to me so much of city magic. And I just wanted to go to the city and write on the sidewalk with lipstick. Chanel vamp. Okay. And the rest of the story is really, really interesting, actually. But I don't know. I read that and I had some like profound ideas, or what I think are, inspiring ideas, okay, that I like got up out of bed in the middle of the night, close to middle of the night, midnight, 1 o'clock, whatever. Because I like to read to calm down, but I got up and wanted to write something about urban magic on a post-it note. Okay, it's not really for sharing, but still, like some ideas. I was like, oh my god, and I was like four stories into this. So this collection of short stories, just this one so far, okay, but like, how is that not the best urban magic ritual you've ever heard of? So creative, you know? Anyway, so these blue books have been inspiring the ever-loving hell out of me, okay? Let me know if you've read any of these books, okay? What are y'all reading? Are y'all reading anything blue? You know, are y'all in a blue vibe right now? Y'all got something with a blue cover? Maybe something's in the water, okay? In the blue waters. All right, I'm gonna get off here. I hope everyone's having a magical day. Much love.